Hello, I'm Tom, and today I'm going to tell you all about the job roles that make up Monkey Hammer Games. To begin with, I will talk about the concept artist. Concept artists are unusual as, unlike the other jobs we are advertising, they require no formal education. Although we say that education in an art-related subject will help, it isn't required. A strong passion for art and design will suffice. Becoming a concept artist will also require you to have a good imagination, as your job will be based around creating new character designs or basic objects for our game ideas. The initial idea for what kind of character will be given to you from the game designer. Then you will create different models based on the designer's requirements. These concept ideas that you have created will be assessed and chosen by the designer. The job has many different roles, as you could be creating anything from a character to a tin can that lies on the floor. The possibilities of what you could be creating are extensive. This backs me up when I say a good imagination and high quality art skills are what we are looking for in a concept artist. Your then approved creations will then be passed on to another team, the 3D modelers. In order to become a modeler, you will need to have gained a degree in one of a variety of courses ranging from architecture to computer graphics, and will also need a degree in mathematics. Although some courses don't involve the use of computers, we find it beneficial if you have experience working on a computer. Your job as a 3D modeler will be to take creations from the concept artist and turn their 2D drawings into realistic 3D models that can be incorporated into our games. Although your job will require artist skills, it won't require much imagination due to the fact that you will be creating a model of an already designed character or object. You will be responsible for making the models look as lifelike as possible and meet the requirements of the game designer's idea. After your models have then been approved of, they will be sent further in their production line to the animator. To become an animator, you will need to have proven skills in drawing, modeling, or using computer animation software. These skills can be shown through the form of qualifications in an art-related subject or course. Such as with other jobs, we also would find it better for both you and the company if you have a strong interest in animating and computer games. Becoming an animator will entitle you to spend some time with the 3D modeler. This will be due to the fact that you will be furthering his work. Your job will include taking the 3D models off the modeler and then further their progress by adding realistic movement to them, completing them as a model. The animation will create a complete working model that can then be eventually programmed to move in a fluent and realistic way. This is the end of the model making process. If you want to become a scriptwriter, you will need to have a diverse imagination and a creative writing talent, rather than having formal qualifications. However, after enrolling on this job, we feel as though it would help you if you took a course to help your understanding of dramatic structure. As a scriptwriter, you will be asked to create and develop the storyline for the game from start to finish, and develop the scripts for each main character that have many cutscenes and cinematics in the game. As well as developing the speech for the characters, you will also work with the audio engineer and animator to create cutscenes that work with the storyline and ensure that everyone looks as realistic as possible. Your script will then go on to the audio engineer so that he can sort out voiceovers for the game. To become an audio engineer, you will need to have a good knowledge of both music and recording technology. To add to this, we would also encourage for you to have an understanding in physics and electronics. You will also be asked to have some sort of creativity if you do Foleying. Your job as an audio engineer will to be responsible for all sounds and music found in our video games, ranging from sound effects, soundtracks, and voiceovers. Whilst creating the sound, you will be responsible for using it to create desired ambience of the game. You will work alongside the developer to create songs and sounds that are wanted to make the experience as realistic as possible. To become a localization technician, you will need to fluently speak the language of 2 or more different languages, including English. You will also require basic IT skills and attention to detail, as well as a passion for video games. You will also need a long attention span, as proofreading will be a heavy role in your job. Your job as a localization technician will include you translating the scripts and making sure all subtitles are correct in every language you speak in. This will involve playing the game through and listening and reading to every piece of speech in the game to make sure there are no mistakes for when the game is released. In order to become a level designer, you will need to have a foundation degree or a degree in graphics design or another art-based subject. As well as this, you will also need to be okay with travelling, as To get the most realistic environment in the game, we need to go to the place that the game is based on, to get a feel of how it looks, and to bring the game to its highest quality. Your job as a level designer will firstly consist of travelling to exotic places around the world, but then you are responsible for creating the world in our games. Not just create the world, but make sure they're balanced, for example in first-person shooters. As well as keeping them balanced, you will also have to decide on the textures you use to keep with the genre of the game, and also make sure that the feel of the world relates to the ambience that is trying to be created in the game. This will involve everything from floor texture to mist or fog. A programmer will require a higher national diploma or a foundation degree. To add to this, any additional experience in working with computers and programming softwares will be highly beneficial for this job role, as your work will be primarily sat at a computer. Programmers are used to pull all the game parts together, such as models and the world, to create the game so that everything works together. This entails checking your programming to ensure that everything happens at the right point, and every button or analog stick triggers what it should do. As well as creating new games, your job could also include debugging an already released game that has a problem. The quality assurance tester is a popular way of starting out in the gaming industry, particularly if you are not already qualified in any other job. Becoming one can give you the best opportunity to get an insight into the company and how our games are put together, from start to finish. Although we don't ask for qualifications, we do ask that you have an interest in computer games. Your job will be simple and enjoyable. You will be responsible for checking for any bugs or glitches in the game before it is fully released. This is to make sure that we release the game at its highest quality. Checking for these glitches can include many different things, such as running into every wall in the world to check they're solid, or running over every tin can to make sure that it moves freely around the world. In order to become a games designer, you will need a foundation degree or degree in graphic designs or any other art-based subjects. We also advise that you have a deep understanding of the compatibilities, benefits and similarities of different hardwares, so that you can tailor the game for what platform you want to introduce it to. As a game designer, you will come up with the initial ideas and art for a brand new game. This will include what the game consists of and how it plays. You will plan and define all aspects about the game, such as the storyline, the game settings, the characters, the props and vehicles, and the user interface design. You will work closely with the producer to produce timelines and financial budgets to get the game created and introduced to the gaming world. To become a producer, you do not need any specific qualifications. However, you will need a substantial experience in both the creative and business side of games. Although you will need an in-depth understanding of the production process and a good network of contacts in the industry, these contacts will help to grow the recognition of the game you are trying to produce. Becoming a producer will entitle you to manage the overall outcome and production of the game. This management will be achieved by setting deadlines and financial budgets for the game production. You will also be in charge of all members of staff and monitoring them to check they're doing the job at an efficient rate. You will also be entitled to change anything untoward with the game. You can overrule all suggestions to put this major change in place. No matter what job you end up doing, there are many different working patterns for these jobs. This pattern will determine when and where you work whilst in the job. You may work office hours, which are usually 9 till 5 and mean that you will spend that 8 hours working at a desk in an office. Irregular hours will mean that you will work out of normal day hours. This could mean working late at night, 7 till midnight, very early in the morning, from midnight till 6, or even weekends. Hot seating means that you will have a choice on what to work on and how long you spend on it. This will entitle you to a freedom of your working hours, as you can work on whatever you like. Being freelance will mean that you don't work for a specific company and don't work specific hours. It means that you can be hired by multiple companies that need you at one time. Fixed term contracts will mean that you will be employed from one specific date to another, and after that you are no longer working for our company. Full-time staff means that you will work for Monkey Hammer Games 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, meaning you will work a 35-hour week and will be paid for the amount of hours you do. Thank you for your time. I will hope to be seeing you in Monkey Hammer Games sometime in the near future.